Nobody could just walk into this place, not even the people who built it. In the middle of a vast silent desert, surrounded by thousands of tents, there stood one structure unlike anything else in the ancient world. It didn't look like a palace. It wasn't made of stone. From the outside, it seemed almost simple. But what was hidden inside that sacred space was believed to be the closest thing on earth to the presence of God himself. This was the tabernacle, and almost no one was allowed to see what was inside. Imagine living in a time where access to God wasn't personal, wasn't casual, and definitely wasn't open. There were boundaries, layers, restrictions. The tabernacle wasn't just a place of worship. It was a controlled path into something sacred, something powerful, and, to many, something dangerous. Inside the tabernacle, every object had a purpose. Every detail was intentional. Nothing was random. From the outer entrance to the deepest hidden chamber, everything was designed to guide, limit, and define how close a human being could come to God. But here's the question. Most people never stop to ask, what was actually inside God's tent? What did it really look like beyond the curtains, beyond the rituals, beyond the mystery? Because what we often imagine and what was actually there are not always the same. Many people think of the tabernacle as just a symbolic structure, a religious artifact from a distant past. But for those who lived around it, this wasn't symbolic at all. This was real. This was physical. This was where heaven and earth were believed to meet. And yet, the deeper you went inside, the fewer people were allowed to follow. Not everyone could enter. Not everyone could see. Not everyone could survive that level of proximity. There were spaces within the tabernacle that only a select few could step into, and one place that only one man could enter, once a year. And what was kept there was considered the most sacred object in all of Israel. So today, we're not just talking about the tabernacle. We're stepping inside it. We're going to move through its layers, one by one, just like someone in the ancient world would have experienced it, from the outer entrance to the inner spaces, and finally, to the most restricted place of all, because to truly understand what was inside God's tent, you don't just study it, you enter it. And as we take that first step forward, crossing the boundary that most people were never allowed to cross, everything begins to change. As you step closer, what once seemed like a simple structure begins to reveal a very intentional design. The tabernacle was not random, and it was not just a tent placed in the desert. It was carefully organized, divided with precision, and built to guide every movement, every action, and every level of access towards something greater. This was not just about entering a space, it was about entering in the right way. From the outside, you would first encounter a large enclosed area known as the outer court. This was the only part visible to the people, surrounded by linen curtains that created a clear boundary between the common world and the sacred ground within. There was only one entrance, a single opening that forced everyone to approach from the same direction, removing any sense of randomness. You didn't wander into the tabernacle, you were led into it. But what most people never realized is that this was only the beginning. Beyond that outer space stood the actual tabernacle structure itself, a covered tent, layered with richly woven fabrics and protective coverings, concealing everything inside. And within that structure, things became even more restricted, more intentional, and far more mysterious. The interior was divided into two distinct sections, the holy place and, beyond it, the most holy place. These were not just rooms, they were levels of proximity. The deeper you moved, the closer you came to what was believed to be the presence of God. And access changed with each step. The outer court allowed the people to approach, but only priests could move beyond that point. Inside the holy place, daily rituals were performed, but even there, limitations existed. And then, beyond a thick veil that separated everything, there was a space so sacred that time itself seemed to pause around it, a place untouched by ordinary presence, a place hidden behind layers of fabric, symbolism, and restriction. Everything about the tabernacle's structure communicated one powerful idea. Not everyone could come close, and no one could enter casually. And as we move forward, passing through that first boundary and stepping into the outer court, the atmosphere shifts immediately. The openness of the desert disappears, and what replaces it is something heavier, more intense, because this is where the first encounter begins. And before we take the next step deeper into the tabernacle, pause for a moment and think about this. Everything here was designed with purpose. Nothing was accidental. And understanding these details changes the entire way you see biblical history. So if you're finding this fascinating, take a second to engage. Leave a comment telling me what stands out to you so far. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. Because as we move forward, we're about to step into a place where the visuals intensify, the rituals become more serious, and the meaning behind every object becomes impossible to ignore. As you cross into the outer court of the tabernacle, the feeling changes instantly. The open desert is behind you now, and what surrounds you carries weight, purpose, and a sense that you are no longer standing in an ordinary place. This is the first layer of contact with the sacred. The first step into a system designed to prepare, and cleanse, and confront anyone who dares to come closer. Right in front of you stands the altar of sacrifice, massive, solid, and impossible to ignore. This is where everything begins. The sound of fire crackling, the heat rising into the air, the movement of priests carrying out their duties, it all creates an atmosphere that is intense and deeply unsettling. This is not symbolic. This is physical, real, and costly. Every sacrifice placed on that altar represents something serious: atonement, surrender, and the undeniable reality that approaching God required something to be given. The ground itself would not have been clean or quiet. There would have been constant activity, the smell of burning offerings filling the air, smoke rising upward as a visible sign that something was happening between earth and heaven. This was the place where sin was dealt with, where people brought what they had, knowing that this was as far as they could go. But just beyond the altar, there was another crucial element, the bronze basin. Filled with water, it stood as a place of washing, of purification. Before any priest could even think about moving deeper into the tabernacle, they had to stop here. They had to cleanse themselves, removing anything that did not belong in a sacred environment. It was a reminder that proximity to God was not just about location, but about preparation. Everything in this outer court speaks the same message. You cannot move forward without passing through this process. There are no shortcuts, no alternative paths, no way to bypass what happens here. The altar confronts you, the basin prepares you, and together they create a barrier that is both physical and spiritual. And as your eyes begin to move beyond this space, toward the covered structure ahead, you start to realize that what you've seen so far is only the beginning, because beyond this point, access becomes even more restricted, the environment more enclosed, and the sense of mystery even stronger. As you move past the outer court and approach the entrance of the tabernacle itself, everything begins to narrow, both physically and emotionally. The noise from behind fades, the open sky disappears, and as you step inside, the environment changes completely. This is the holy place, and the difference is immediate. There is no natural light here, no sun above you, no wind moving through the space. Everything is enclosed, intentional, and controlled. The atmosphere feels heavier, quieter, almost suspended in time. The only light comes from the menorah, the golden lampstand positioned carefully within the room. Its flames flicker softly, casting a warm, golden glow that dances across the walls, reflecting off the gold-covered surfaces around you. Shadows move slowly, creating a sense that the space itself is alive, watching, responding. This is not just illumination, this is symbolic light, constant and sustained, never allowed to go out. To one side, the table of the bread of the presence stands in quiet significance. 12 loaves, placed with precision, representing something far beyond food. It speaks of provision, of covenant, of an ongoing relationship that is maintained, not forgotten. Everything here is arranged, deliberate, untouched by randomness. And then, directly ahead, closer to the veil that hides what lies beyond, is the altar of incense. This is where fragrance replaces the harsh smell of sacrifice from outside. A continuous cloud of incense rises gently, filling the space with a thick, rich aroma that lingers in the air. It softens the atmosphere, but at the same time, it deepens the sense that you are standing in a place set apart from everything else. There is a rhythm here: light, bread, incense, presence, provision, communication. Every element works together, creating an environment that is no longer about entry, but about proximity. You are closer now, and that closeness is undeniable. But even here, there is a limit. Because just ahead, hanging silently, is the veil. Thick, imposing and absolute. It does not invite you in, it stops you. It reminds you that even in this sacred space, there is still something beyond your reach. And as you stand there, in the glow of golden light and rising incense, you can't help but feel that what is hidden behind that veil is not just another space, but something far more intense, far more sacred, and far more dangerous. If you've made it this far, comment "Holy Place," so I know you're following this journey step by step, because what comes next changes everything. And now, everything leads to this moment. Standing before the veil, you are as close as anyone could regularly get, and even here, there is a clear understanding. Beyond this point, human access ends. The curtain is not just fabric, it is a boundary, thick, heavy, and absolute. It separates what is seen from what is hidden, what is accessible from what is sacred beyond measure. Behind it lies the most holy place, the center of everything, the most restricted space in the entire tabernacle. No light from the menorah reaches inside, no daily movement, no routine activity, no constant presence of priests. This is a place untouched, undisturbed, and approached only under the most specific conditions. Only one man could enter, the high priest, and only once a year. When that moment came, it was not casual, it was precise, prepared, and surrounded by deep reverence and fear. Every step mattered, every detail mattered, because inside this hidden space was the Ark of the Covenant, the most sacred object in all of Israel's history, overlaid with gold, carried with care, and placed exactly where it was meant to be. It represented far more than craftsmanship or symbolism. It represented the very presence of God. Above the ark, between the cherubim, was where that presence was believed to dwell, invisible, yet real, untouchable, yet central. This was not just a sacred object in a sacred room. This was the point where heaven and earth were believed to meet in a way unlike anywhere else. There was no movement inside, no distractions, no noise, just stillness, a kind of stillness that carries weight, that demands respect. That reminds you how far you've come and how close you are to something beyond human understanding. And yet, even here, access was not permanent. The high priest would enter, complete what was required, and leave. No one stayed, no one lingered, because this was never meant to be a place of comfort, it was a place of encounter. From the outer court to this hidden center, every layer of the tabernacle told the same story. Approach carefully, move intentionally. Understand the cost of coming closer. What began as an open entrance in the desert led step by step into the most sacred space imaginable. And now that you've walked through it, seen it from the inside, and understood what was actually inside God's tent, the question is no longer what was there, but what it all truly meant. And this is where everything comes together. Because the tabernacle was never just about structure, objects, or ritual. It was about meaning. Every layer you've just walked through, every boundary you've crossed, every object you've seen was part of a larger design, a system created to communicate something deeper about God's presence and humanity's approach to it. This was not random religion. This was intentional access. From the outer court to the most holy place, the tabernacle revealed a progression. You didn't begin at the center. You moved toward it, step by step, process by process, each space teaching something essential. The altar showed that approaching God required sacrifice. The basin revealed the necessity of cleansing. The holy place introduced sustained presence, light, and communion. And beyond the veil, the most holy place made one thing unmistakably clear. God was near but not casually accessible. Everything was structured to show both invitation and limitation. There was a way in, but not without order. There was access, but not without preparation. And this is what made the tabernacle so powerful in biblical history. It was a living illustration of the relationship between the divine and the human. It showed that God was not distant, not absent, but dwelling among his people, and yet still holy, still set apart, still approached with reverence. This tension between closeness and separation defined everything about that sacred space. And when you begin to truly understand what was inside God's tent, you realize it was never just about what people could see with their eyes. It was about what each element represented, what each step required, and what each boundary meant. The tabernacle was not only a place, it was a message about holiness, about order, about presence, about the cost of drawing near. And now that you've stepped inside, seen its structure, and uncovered what was actually hidden within, you're no longer just hearing about the tabernacle. You've experienced the journey through it. So the next time you think about God's tent in the wilderness, remember this: it wasn't just where God dwelled, it was how he chose to be approached. And if you've stayed with me all the way to the end of this journey, walking step by step from the outer court to the most holy place, then you've done something most people never do. You didn't just hear about the tabernacle, you actually understood what was inside God's tent. So before you leave, I want you to do something simple but meaningful. Go down to the comments and write, "I entered the tabernacle," because that tells me you didn't just watch, you followed every layer, every detail, every step of this sacred path. If this video helped you see biblical history in a deeper and more real way, make sure to leave your like. It helps this message reach more people who have never truly understood what the tabernacle was. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden details, the structure and the meaning behind these powerful biblical places, subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning of what most people have never seen. Now don't stop here. The video you're seeing on your screen right now will take you even further into this journey.